All right. What is up, everyone? Okay, so I've got Kevin here with me, and he's going to tell us a little bit about this exciting project he's got, Crypto Cannabis Club. But before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Kev?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Super stoked to be on. Talk a little bit more about the project. Um, I think, I guess starting off, my background, I've been in the cannabis industry for about 8 years. My brother is the other dev on the project that kind of came up with the concept with me and worked on the art together. He's been working with me for the past 8 years in cannabis as well. Um, Worked 5 years in Denver, cultivation, sales, marketing, extraction, BHO extraction. Moved to Oregon for 2 years, worked out there, started a company, solventless extractions. Basically, we did everything from seed to sale. We grew our own product, we extracted it, sold it, and then recently moved back to Florida. Ran operations for a big company out here for about a year, and recently just dove into the NFT space. So Crypto Cannabis Club is 10,000 unique NF tokers that live on the blockchain. They're coming with a plant here in the next few weeks. The idea behind the project is we're providing aftermarket utility through gamification of using your plants to enter crypto cannabis cup competitions. Your plants will have hidden characteristics that you will have to kind of dive into the game to find out whether you have a banger or, if your plants got high THC, CBD. All these traits will be baked into the visual traits that you see in the plant. And essentially, you'll be able to enter competitions for individual categories such as THC, CBD, yield, terps. You'll be able to enter these individual category competitions to try to collect data on your plants. To take that data, enter, whole plant competitions, monthly cups where you can compete for grand prizes. We're going to be working with glass blowers, creating custom rigs for winners. We're going to potentially be creating NFTs of those rigs for top 10. We really, this project is really about bringing not only aftermarket utility and gamification, but also, the goal for us is really to create this exclusive club where NF token holders are going to benefit from holding that NFT. So we're, very focused. We almost think that like 50% of it is going to be gamification focused and really focusing on you being able to take that and do something with it. And then also, we want to partner with brands in the US and around the world, cannabis brands, to essentially have like an NFT black card where if you hold this NFT and you're in California, you can visit these stores and receive this discount. Or, from being a member, if you explore our space in the metaverse and interact with our game and you're growing your plants, we want to make it so that you can fully grow a plant, harvest it in the metaverse, take it to our dispensary, sell your product to the dispensary, and potentially get giveaway prizes, hidden giveaways. So we really want to encourage interaction in the metaverse. We want people to voxelize their characters, voxelize the wearables, and explore the metaverse, play the game. If you don't want to play the game and you want to hold, we're building in a staking feature so that essentially you'll be able to take your NF token to a greenhouse, stake that NF token, and they'll essentially it'll be a way for you to earn money through staking. So We really, I think when we talk about this project, we want to provide as much benefit to the community as possible. So, working with these partnerships, we're really focusing on, whatever benefit we get from said partnership, we want it to go straight to the community, straight to the NF token holders, versus like us receiving some sort of financial benefit and then kicking it down to the community. So like ways of like turning on discounts for certain websites, whether it be merch or if you're in the US, that be physically going in and buying product at a discount. We think it'd be really cool to, partners with companies in that way, to again make this like an exclusive club. We want to incentivize people to hold an NF token, and so we think through providing cool partnerships, it's really us a way for us to kind of stand out amongst other NFT projects. If you really look at our project compared to others, I think we're really, and there's probably others, but like I feel like we're really one of the only projects that's tying together two booming spaces, that being the NFT space and the cannabis culture. We're able to go to in real life events in both the NFT space and cannabis space. So we're trying to get into MJ BizCon in Vegas right now. We want to have a booth there. Yeah. We want to be present in trade shows for NFTs and cannabis, and we see huge opportunity in educating people outside of the NFT space and in the cannabis space, and bring more people in to the club. We've got 10,000 tokers. That's room for 10,000 participants. As we breed, there's going to be more plants. So, we're starting out with 13,000 plants. There's going to be roughly, we haven't dialed in the number, but roughly about 2,000 males, probably 11,000 females. Through breeding, more plants are going to pop up. So, hopefully we down the road have 8 to 10,000 unique owners, and the gamification side of things will be great. It'll be busy. We've got a lot of active users, and then on the flip side, there's a lot of opportunity, outside of gamification, and I think. Sorry, I'm getting text messages here. That's I think okay. There's I didn't know how to turn that off. I think there's huge opportunity inside of the NFT space and outside for this project. So really excited to move forward into the non-NFT space.
Now I have a question for you regarding the plants. So I'm excited about the fact that you're entering metaverses, like you're looking at crypto voxels. You might be potentially looking at Decentraland, is that right? But what my question is I can see how the tokens are going to be involved in the metaverse. How do you vision the plants being involved? Because that would be really cool if you're in the metaverse and you've got your own land, and other people coming in who don't know anything about Crypto Cannabis Club see your plot of land and see the plants there. They're going to be like, okay, what's this? How would you visualize integrating that into a metaverse?
So right now, we just purchased property, a parcel in Crypto Voxels. We're working with Metabit Broker. So he's been a great resource in the Crypto Voxel space. I've been in weekly meetings with him, and really, I think like the opportunities in Crypto Voxels and the metaverse are kind of endless, right? Like I just had a meeting with him before I hopped on here. We've got 5 parcels. We can do 5 megavoxels per parcel. So, I mean, the detail in the metavoxels is pretty sweet. So, we've got the opportunity in our current space to have 25 very detailed plants, where potentially that's, where we put all of our metavoxel resources into. So, I mean, like, really kind of that's what we're going through right now, is like, how do we want to design our space? What do we want as the megavoxels? Plants, I think, are definitely going to make up at least half of the megavoxels in our space. So that's kind of how I see them living in the metaverse, and
Yep.
specifically crypto voxels. I think when we talk about potentially going into sandbox and sandbox right now, we're locked in on a 3x3 estate. So we're going to have much more room to build. And I think sandbox, when you talk about development there and just like overall look and feel of the space, I think that's where we're really going to kind of go hard on like trying to create some user interaction where people can actually like grow the plants. Opportunities there I think are pretty sweet.
I'm definitely excited about Sandbox. I like crypto voxels. Looks cool, but I feel as though Sandbox has like that has a feel that definitely I feel it like represents Crypto Cannabis Club more. It's just like feels like it would integrate better.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I mean?
sure. For sure. Yeah. I think the crypto voxel space for us is like it's immediate. So
Yep.
it's something that we know we can get up and going pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it's a mediary. Like people are going to be able to find you through
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And we want to start to create some sort of user interaction as we build out our game. We did just launch just over 2 weeks ago. So, if you look at our roadmap, on sellout was when we said we were going to start working on the game, and we're full steam ahead on that now. It is going to take some time. We've got really cool ideas for animation, for during the game, and as far as like the game goes, we see that being as more of a function, living on a website, kind of similar to Zed Run. We've kind of toyed around with like how do what are the options, right? Like I think anybody, if your mind goes wild with like what this could be, the game could live in the metaverse, but like we kind of like went back and forth with like if the game lives in the metaverse, how many people are going to play versus if the game is a little bit more simplified on a website, will we get more interaction there? So I think we want to do both. We want to like have interaction. We want the gamification to be a regularly cycling thing. We want people to participate. We want people to build data. We want people to breed. And it feels like that living on a website as more of a function is probably the best option to start. We definitely see, with everything that we're doing, we have a V1 website. We're going to have a V2 website. Whatever our animations are for gamification, V1, we're going to come out with probably better animation down the road. So we always we aimed for the project to continue to evolve and grow. But I mean, I think to start off, we want the user to really just run wild. I know, pre-recording, we talked about the metaverse almost being like a virtual Burning Man, where it's so awesome that people can like build whatever they want, and it's up to you to really go explore. And there's a starting point with portals that can beam you to another, part of the map. It's like, it's so cool to just explore and run around crypto voxels. So holding events in that space for us is where we see like the benefit early on.
Now, what I'm really excited to see where the metaverse is going to go, because I've just seen how passionate your community is. Now, I've been involved in a lot of other communities, and something doesn't feel exactly genuine in a lot of those communities. A lot of it's a lot of FOMO. A lot of it's like, hey, we're going to make money and all of this. But something so genuine about your community. Like people are passionate about the weed. There's no bullshit. There's no lying. You don't have people coming in trying to pump things on Discord. It's proper, genuine, in-depth conversation about strains of weed, where you guys work. I met a guy in Australia which lives like 20 minutes away from me. And so it's like all of this connection that's actually genuinely happening on there that I haven't happened. And it's going to be exciting to see that happen within the metaverse. Now, I've got up here the page on OpenSea. Now, you guys have been out for 2 weeks, and you're already at 1.3k volume traded for ETH. You've got 2.9 unique holders. Now, I think that's really important because that's been growing gradually. So there's people, there's not people who are wailing in on this. Like, there's a lot of genuine holders here. So the community is growing. I feel as though like you're very sort of under the radar at the moment, and
Yeah.
and you've been making very steady growth, a really strong floor, and I forgot where I was going to go with this. But
Well, I mean, like, it's you're right, and I think like it's organic growth. Like we had so many people that when we released and we didn't reveal, we had so many people that like believed in the product, like or project. We sold like 650 to 700 when we first dropped, and it was like that was the first day at 420 to like 5:30. It was like boom, 650. It was the loyals that like were in the Discord the whole time that bought in, and those people were like, I don't care. Like, I'm stoked. I got this many. Like, people bought into this project because they believed in the community. They thought it was a good idea, and they loved the utility, gamification. You know, like people that bought early, and I think most people that bought into this project are like buying to hold because it's just like something that like really speaks to them. When you look at a lot of these NFT projects, and I buy into several projects. I'm addicted to NFTs, but there's a lot of projects that like they don't really have like a story behind them. Like ours has like a culture tied to it, and I think that's why our Discord is the way it is, and so many people like connected because they love NFTs, but they also love weed, and so it's like he's got like, and if you don't love weed, it's you, but like you're still kind of like into that culture. You know, like we talk about like the cannabis culture. It's way bigger than just cannabis. It's like music, food, you know, the way people dress. There's so much that goes into the cannabis culture that's outside of cannabis. So I think just everybody is just like, they have so much about themselves that's like the other people in the Discord. It's just, I don't know. It does feel different. It does feel authentic. We had a lot of people that reached out to us that wanted us to pay for influencers, and just from what we felt from the community, we didn't really feel like it was necessary.
No, that's only going to damage you. That'll just damage you.
We felt like it would. We felt like that, you know, like especially like we want the people that support us to be like relevant in the community, and like, you know, we want not that people's voices don't matter, but like somebody that is deep in the community. I saw somebody post one time, they're like, why do we listen to like a rapper that doesn't really know anything about NFTs? Why don't we listen to somebody that's like obsessed with NFTs, that's in it all day, you know? So like I pay attention to the people that are obsessed with NFTs, you know, like those are the kind of guys I listen to, because it's like, man, these guys are deep into this, and every time they say something, I'm like, you're so right, you know, just the thought behind their approach is calculated. And so like it's, you know, we just felt like doing it, you know, organically was the best way. And now like we've got almost 6,000 people in our Discord. Our Twitter is just booming every day, and it's organic still, you know, and it feels right, you know, and we're working towards bringing partners in that will help, but it's important to us that those partners are like in line with the culture that we are trying to build with this project. So I think we're pretty calculated with how we approach the entire project, whether that be the art. We were very diligent in making sure that everything was perfect when it layered over each other. We're doing the same thing with the plants right now, just going through testing phases, because we really, really care about the end product, and we really care about the culture that we're trying to build. And so, all of that factors into the way we approach, moving forward. So, yeah, I mean, it feels special, but it's exciting as we continue to grow. More and more people pour in, and opportunities keep presenting themselves. It's pretty cool.
Now, I think another really important thing when I look at an NFT project is, of course, the art. And one thing that's clear with the artwork here is you understand color science, you understand perspective. Now, there's projects that are coming out that are talking about metaverses, and they're talking about gamification and whatnot. And I'm looking at their base, their foundry, and I'm like, I just can't see. I can't see a positive trajectory based off what they've sort of brought to the table initially. Now, there's already so much love in this project and a lot of thought that's clearly went into this. So I think you have this strong foundation that's going to support the project and everything that you've talked about. And that's something that was clear from day one when I had a look at this. I can visualize what this is going to look like in an open world. Whereas a lot of these other projects, they don't even understand perspective. I'm like, if you can't understand perspective of the way something's meant to look, how are you going to understand the rest of this? There's a lot of people who are aping in, well, not aping in, like they're like trying to bring projects forward, but they don't understand the art themselves. You know what I'm,
Yeah, for sure.
Now, you just touching on what you were saying before with story, I'm going to ask a sort of more personal question. Is like, how did this project come about? Like, what inspired it? Like, I know you worked in cannabis and whatnot, but when did this all sprout? Like,
Yeah, so I mean, kind of like the idea, I wanted to create an NFT. Like, I was into NFTs. I wanted to create an NFT that, like, was related to cannabis. Like that, it's like my life. I obsess over it. I love to learn, about soil biology. It's an obsession of mine. And so it's like almost like two obsessions, like kind of coming together, like the light bulb of being like, I could do a cannabis NFT. And like, I just started I started searching OpenSea for like any cannabis NFT. First of all, is like market research. Okay, what's out there? And I didn't really see anything that like fit what like I visioned as for like, what our NFT would look like. And so the original idea was to do a plant, and like, we were like, okay, we'll do cannabis plants. And that's kind of how the idea popped up, was like, we'll do plants, and then it kind of spiraled, right? It's like, what could this be? What could the plants be? Like, you talk about like utility and wanting to like have a story for your project. And so then it spiraled, like, okay, so we could do plants. Obviously, like for me being in the cannabis world, I wanted to breed the plants. And I think a lot of projects really look at like, okay, we could potentially breed something, and create more NFTs downstream. The idea wasn't like to create more NFTs, but to really make this like real life cannabis growing. And that's kind of what we're like taking into the gamification. It's like, I nerd out on the breeding. If you could see up here, I've got, biology charts with dominant and recessive traits, because I'm trying to figure out like, how can we make this real, where like when I'm popping seeds, I'm breeding for specific traits, right? I want all the bud to be purple, and so that's like, we want to kind of implement that same thing. So as the ideas started like coming out, okay, we want to breed, we want to do this, then we were like, well, maybe we create characters, and the characters would be like the growers. We started talking about going into competitions, because what we really did was like, once it started to spiral into this conversation, then we were like, okay, let's start from like the beginning stage of growing a plant, and then how can we implement this into this project. So it was like seeds. Okay, no, I don't really like think a seed would be like that cool as an NFT. Veg plant with no flowers, like we didn't really want like an NFT to go from like a seed to a veg to like the final plant, because we didn't want to like change an existing NFT. We wanted like the NFT to go out and, you know, serve the purpose of it being an NFT. We can't really fuck with it anymore, and it's out there. So we didn't want it to like change from a seed to a veg plant to a final plant. So we were like, okay, we'll just do plants and avatars, and you know, come up with a game, and we'll come up with aftermarket utility, and that's kind of how it all happened. And then like, you know, it's ever evolving. We always come up with new ideas. We just had a meeting with our animator on like how we can make the gameplay come to life via animations, and how can that be exciting. You know, you play Zed Run and it's exciting. Like you are racing your horse, and like if you feel like you're at a racetrack. Like we want to create excitement in our game, and that's really the challenge right now. We think we just came up with a really cool idea on a way to like excite the user as they play. But yeah, I mean, it's ever evolving, and it's really fun to, obviously we're cannabis users, so it's fun to like, you know, smoke a J and just like think like, hey, let's get really creative here. Like, how can this come to life and excite people? It's been a wild ride creating this project for sure.
I'm super excited about it because in Australia, weed's not legal, and you know, I've grown a few plants in my time, so I like the being able to do it legally.
Right? That was the thing. Like,
Yeah,
to be able to like, it was. I'm a huge cannabis guy, so like outside of my personal bias, it was like, how fucking cool would it be to be able to like enter competition, you know, and like make money off of like your virtual weed. Like that it's cool, you know. I think
exactly.
you don't have to love weed to like love that idea, you know. So I think again, that's kind of why I think it resonates with so many people.
Exactly. And the thing is, you know, people like growing virtual weed, like some people might sort of doubt that, but at the end of the day, if you make some clout along the way from the staking process, essentially you're generating real weed, you know, with the clout.
Yeah,
So at the end of the day, and like who knows what you could work in there into the mechanics, you know, for
for sure.
those you know, who have weed available to them in the country, you know, there could be all sorts of perks.
Yeah, I mean, opportunities are endless, really. I mean, you talk about like the game too. If you're entering your plant and you're winning, and you prove you have a winning plant, it's going to increase the value of your NFT. So, you know, you may have an NFT that doesn't have visual traits that are necessarily rare, but that might be a rare plant as far as its abilities in competition. So that's the cool part about it. Like we didn't want the visual rarities to translate into gamification. We like talked about it, like, oh, if it was a rare pot, maybe that pot could have like, you know, the best score. But then it was like, oh, that'd be easy for somebody to game it, right? Like if somebody went on Rarity Tools and saw that the number one plant, you know, was that plant, then they could easily buy that and know that it would win all competitions. So like for us, we really want to design the game so that nobody can like figure it out quickly and like game the system and just beat everybody. We want it to be competitive, and we want it to be fair and completely random. So we're really
Speaking on that, sorry, I'll just
no, you're good. You're good. Go for it.
Speaking on that, because like you were saying that you put a lot of time into that so that people don't sort of have that advantage. will the traits of the characters influence the plants? Like I'm looking at, you got the gold puff puff. Will that be maybe like I'm not saying definitely, but like I visualize this as like maybe it'll have golden nugs. Maybe a respirator will be something to do with like hydroponic setup or something like that. Like
Well, it's going to be random. Like whatever plant you get is going to be completely random to the character. Like when people are given the ability to mint their plant, like it'll be completely random what they get. So like association from like the character to the plant, I don't think would really work there because we want it to be like completely random for what everybody gets. But we do want the character to somehow factor into like scoring. And this can kind of all be done like on the back end. So the fact that the NFTs are out, like we can create some sort of like way of like the game recognizing the traits and assigning scores that way. So we do want the avatars to factor into the gameplay. They are going to be, you're going to have an avatar. You're going to have an NF toker to play the game. So you'll have to select your NF toker and you'll select your plant. We want those to both factor into the score. So that's going to be like a whole nother part of the game, right? Like your grower, it's just like in real life, your grower grows the bud, and it's a very real thing that like really good growers can grow the best bud. And so like if you have a really good grower, a really good NF toker, you should have a higher score, which would potentially pair well with a better plant. So
I get you. So it'd be more communication between the avatar and the plant rather than the actual influence on what the plant is that you get.
Yeah, it would almost be like a communication of the metadata in our website, and like metadata is assigned, certain ranges of a score. So, and this is all still in development. So, I definitely want to preface with that, like things can change. I'd like to talk about like what the dream is, because I think people can really get a good idea for like what our intentions are for the direction we want to move in. But, as we develop and as we come out with like, hard, okay, this is cemented in, this is real, this is how it's going to go. Like we'll totally open source that and let that information be out there in the open and really start to communicate on like, hey, this is what's going to go down. So, I see a lot of people asking like, how's this going to work? How's this going to work? It's all still in development phase. So
yeah, so
happy to talk about the dream.
I've got a more like technical sort of question because I've been sort of curious. So with metaverses, right? So in VV, when the devs talk about a metaverse, they talk about things like collision issues and the fact that the metaverse will have an influence over what the avatars and collectibles will look like. Therefore, they want to create their own metaverse. Now, when I visualize metaverse, I'm like, okay, I would prefer a metaverse made by someone else that plays nice with multiple different projects, because then sort of you can have your crypto cannabis club, you can meet people from other clubs, and it would just be like the real world. And there will be a lot more creativity going on. Now, the question that I had sort of there is on the technical side is, when these drop into a metaverse, are there any metaverses that you're looking at where you'll get a real feel for what these characters look like, or is it just it's so early on that it's like this is something that will progress over time? Like,
I think it'll progress over time. I mean, we're like, as we go into Sandbox, we'll be able to like start to develop on our end, and I think there's definitely certain metaverses where the quality of the character, especially from our project, would probably fit better. We talked earlier about like we fully think that there's a place in Decentraland, Sandbox, and Crypto Voxels for us. We think they all serve their own purpose. And so, obviously Sandbox, Decentraland quality is a little bit higher than Crypto Voxels. You know, I think over time it might get better. I know that there's new metaverses that are popping up that I've seen that are, very impressive. So I think it's like application, like, each one serves its purpose. Something may be better in one metaverse than in the other metaverse, but I think from my perspective, like, I'm not going to be the only one using it, and I think a lot of our community wants to see it in, some want crypto voxels because they like crypto voxels for X reason. Some people like, Decentraland for whatever reason. So we want, like, we're very big on like hearing out the community, and we want to please the community. We're not obviously going to do everything the community wants, right? Like we have our vision as well, but yeah, I mean, we're starting the build in crypto voxels, now. So we're excited to get moving on that, and then in September we're going to make our purchase in Sandbox. So we're really excited to like kind of dip our toes into each one.
Now, where I could sort of visualize a lot of this going as well is, this is going to have like a less of a like with a lot of projects, there'll be like whales, and they'll sort of influence the market in a lot of ways. But I see that this will sort of deter it in the sense of the fact that you've got the staking with the plants and whatnot. Like there's going to be whales in on sort of everything, but what I'm sort of getting at is, like, I can imagine in the metaverse someone having a shitload of plants, right? And as the community sort of grows and progresses and whatnot, and people grow these plants, they will have like farms, and maybe they could sell their strain or whatnot within the metaverse. And it's like giving proper value, like passive income and whatnot, which is making it more valuable for individual holders to hold a token, if you get me. Like it's so I like this just the way everything is, this community, it attracts a variety of people, more people to come in and whatnot. So like sort of what I was getting at is there's like just a lot of utility there. So it's not like this pump and dump, but like, anyways, I just wanted to ask, like, do you see a store within the metaverse, like where people sell plants, sell their strain, and like they'll have a farm?
So. Yeah, I think like the metaverse conversation is really fun. I think that like the opportunities there are endless as far as like what we can do inside of our space. Like we are going to be holding those monthly cannabis cups, and we want to, hold some of those events in the metaverse. I think we want to do some of those in real life, but like when you talk about in the metaverse, like looking at how we want to lay out the design of our space, we've considered doing like little pop-up stores where we can bring other brands in there and host in real life brands in our space. I think we talked earlier about like potentially selling, growing your plants in the metaverse, tending to those plants. We talked about having like a nutrient store where you could go buy nutrients to feed your plants. If you don't care for your plants, they die. That's like awesome. It could be really cool, like, and this is I think it's all possible. Like the more conversations we have, it's like I'm not the front end back end developer of like gamification websites. So I have these conversations with our developer, and it's like, can we do this? Can we do this? Yes. And now we're kind of writing out the functions to make it happen for coding. But it's
Yeah.
really cool. I mean, you can pretty much do whatever your mind like imagines. So like, yeah, we've like, I think that's the cool part about our project is like you can like, we
Yeah.
want you to actually be able to grow the weed. Like you have the plant. I think everybody, what you're getting at is like everybody's going to want to grow the plant. Like you're in Australia, you can't grow weed, but this is your chance
Exactly.
to grow weed, you know?
Now, what's sort of like I've heard people talking about like you have the rights to your token, therefore you can create like merch and stuff. Now, this sounds really great. Like, you've got the physical merch, but where I see it going is into the metaverse. If people are growing a fantastic strain of weed, right, and then people can buy that strain off you, and then they can sort of start growing like their plants, like they could buy specimens, so they could start breeding and adding to their species, therefore getting better perks and whatnot. And one particular farmer could become very popular because the utility that their plants provide is massive.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore people will start buying their merch within the metaverse. So you'll see people running around with their token creator on shirts. So they'll build their own little community and you'll see them running around with that in the metaverse. And I just think that would be really cool to see where business goes within the metaverse. And I'm excited, like as a YouTuber, like I'm not one that would normally stream games, but I would stream within the metaverse with NFTs. And like I see like a lot of opportunity for content creation in regards to this, on YouTube as well. Like the whole idea just really, really, really excites me. Do you see like merch coming into the metaverse, like
For sure.
t-shirts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. We actually had conversations about this today. I mean, there's ways to do merch drops in the metaverse. You know, like you could do a merch drop, and I don't want to go too much into detail because I'm working with MetaBit Broker here, and he's got some great ideas that I want to like reveal with him.
Yep.
But yeah, like it's totally possible, and like I think when like the information on like if we were to do it, like if when people hear the details, you'll be stoked. I think this whole space is really kind of like taking like what a business could do or what an artist can do to the next level, and like
Yep.
it's really empowering not only the project owners but like the community, the people that bought in, like from our perspective, like the secondary art and like what everybody's creating off of our tokers, like I love to see it. It's awesome, and like
Mm.
I think it's really cool that people are able to take something, buy it, now they own it, and they can go create with that as their base.
Exactly. And like we're talking about before the interview, right? How like you've got projects like Vivi where they've got licenses, right? And
Mhm.
like this is the utility that they provide, but there is so much limitation. You can't do anything with the license. The other licenses within the platform can't do anything. It's the whole thing sort of restricting each other. So they're very limited to like a sort of a collectible. Whereas in here, I could see like artists creating their own art, and because you guys are your own entity, user going to be willing to allow people to do this. Therefore, they can sort of create. Um, it's a lot more free. Like you've got, and not only that is like you're within another metaverse, so people can bring their own NFTs and own art in anyways. But like I could picture something like you allowing people to put their own NFT art onto maybe a T-shirt that their token's wearing or something like that, in like well into the future when developments like when things have progressed further. But like I feel as though smaller projects are more willing to get involved and allow more freedom with their community, which is very important because you don't want to feel so limited. Do you know what I'm saying?
For sure. I think where you're going with that too is like, with Vivi, like there is some sort of control, and like that's what I think makes this NFT space so special, is that like you're in control if you hold the NFT, with what you want to do with it. So it's like, and we support it, because I think anything that is made from our art still kind of like touches our art in some way, whether even if it's still in the control of somebody else. Like, it was based off of our art, therefore it still has association. And I think, like the more art that's out there that's associated with our project, the better. And it's like really cool to see other people in the community that are creative, like it's, you're in all these projects, you're talking to these people and then you see them create and it's like, oh shit, that's fucking rad. That's like, and just like where people take it, it's opportunity to do whatever you want. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like being on Clubhouse, I see a lot. What happens a lot is there'll be like conversations happening, and someone will show their art, and then another artist will be like, "I love your art. We should work together," and people will collaborate. And what they could not normally bring because of maybe chokehold with money and whatnot, artists can work together to create something that and everyone involved sort of gets inspired, and this thing just grows. And like this can happen within the metaverse. There's like so much like cooperation going on, and this is what just makes like what I say with NFTs is, there's a lot of creation that could not normally happen because of licensing limitations, laws, that NFTs really help artists artists get through. And it's just like I think like that's sort of like the power of NFTs is just to allow so much more creative freedom,
Yeah, it is. It's empowering. It's like it's in the artist's hands, really. Like the entirety of the project, all details, it's completely in the artist's hands.
Yeah, like my mother, she's an author. She like writes like fiction novels. She used to when I was a kid. She was a best-selling author, and she very very broke. Like anything creative used to be like that, and it's just exciting seeing this space, because this is something like my mum's very passionate about, and I'd love to help bring her in one day to be able to promote herself and become successful doing what she loves. And I love seeing, so when I see this happen with other artists, and I got brought in the NFT space. I'm not an artist myself. I'm creative, but like I have artist friends. Like I have a friend who does sculpting and 3D sculpting, and he was talking about NFTs, and he was really excited about it. And so I did some research, found out about it and whatnot, and I was like, wow, this is like the next. This is going to be huge, because I just thought about my mother, about how she was limited by publishing companies
Mm-hmm.
as to where she could go. And I was like, her work is fantastic. Why isn't it sort of not? It's best selling. Why is she sort of so broke? And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. She's spending like 16 hours a day, putting her heart and soul into it, like 7 days a week. And she's been doing this for years and years, and it just wasn't getting anywhere. And I'm just like, when people look at like an NFT and they're like, why is this selling for so much? I'm like, like look at what you guys spend your money on. Like it's like some of these people who are saying this go and spend like $1,000 on a Louis V t-shirt. I'm
Yeah.
like, this makes no sense. Like these artists are finally getting paid. Everyone has their time, and it's the artist's time. And like people should get in before it gets regulated too, because there's going to be a lot of entities that build who are going to crush those sort of around them. So it's like we're in the Wild West at the moment. It's really, really exciting.
Yeah.
Being a part of this. Like, I definitely think Crypto Cannabis Club is here to stay, and I'm just excited to see where it goes. Like when you see a project, you can really see when when a team is passionate about the project and the art, not the money. It's not like the money is not necessarily the goal. The money is nice, but it's the actual project creating something that is going to leave a legacy that you love. You know, when I see that, I'm like, and I see a strong community built around it, I'm like, okay, well, this is here to stay because the community is going to make sure that no matter what, this won't die, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And, and there's a lot of projects that I see and people get excited about and they ape into, and I'm like, why are you aping into this? This is like equivalent into aping into some shit coin that has no utility. Like you look at utility, you should always buy something you like, you know. And I get that making money is important. I'm a flipper myself, you know, like that. That's why I'm in the space. But I'm in the space because I also love the art. If I buy a project, I'll always buy at least two of the project because then I have one to sell and then I have one to hold, sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing. You know, and like a lot of people just aren't buying stuff that they like, and it's like if you don't like it, you're going to be stuck with it. What's the point? Are you going to be involved in that community? Buy something that you're willing to be involved in, you know?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people that follow in this space, I think. I think especially with a lot of the newcomers coming into the space, they're either taking advice from a friend or somebody on Twitter or whatever it may be. I think as people start to get a little bit more educated, if you look at like an educated NFT buyer, um, they're not just going to buy into a project just because. Like there has to be a reason behind it, whether that be they like the art. It seems like now like projects that are dropping have to have some sort of utility or unique characteristic that is going to like differentiate them from other projects. And it's funny because you still see new things popping up in the space, which it's not that crazy with how new the space is, but there's so many creative people that are continually evolving in this NFT space. And just like the Oniforce dropped the other day, how they did the pre-sale, super successful. They had, I think you said you minted 2 in the pre-sale if you were an active member on the Discord. So there's really cool ways that projects are rewarding early loyal members and continuing to push the space forward. So yeah, I mean,
Exactly. And like when I see what was I gonna say? Like when I see a fine art piece, right? The utility is there within the art piece, and it sort of stops there. You could display it in the metaverse, but it's backed by the artist's prior career and whatnot. So you've got people like Beeple and stuff like that, and people are willing to pay a lot for that because of who he is. And then you've got just a lot of pieces that just sort of connect with someone. When I look at a collectible, I think what's important about a collectible is the vision. See, you've got vision and you've got utility, but then you'll see some collectibles like, example, CryptoPunks founded everything. So I see the utility there being that it's like one of the first projects that started and it was pioneered the space. But when I see something come in that literally provides no utility, like there's like a lot of copy pastas, like I'm trying to think of one. There's like a copy pasta between Stoner Cats and like another one, and the who was it? That guy from that '70s show. I see that brought in and whatnot, and like you've got like the TV show and you've got the sort of utility sort of going on there, but then you'll see like ones that come in that have nothing further than the art, and it's just random generating it, but there's no thought about how utility could be brought into this. It's like, well, this is never going to go anywhere because how can a community build around this? Like, community is important. Now, a lot of people will see these pictures, they'll see them and they'll be like JPEGs and whatnot. And I'm like, look, like you don't know unless you don't know understand NFTs unless you're involved in the space. Like we're investing in where we think this can go, and the team and the community is important. If the team's not willing to show themselves and not willing to get involved, I'm just like, there are there are some projects that have done really well where the teams aren't showing and whatnot, but I'm just like, they're not held to their word. To me, it just stinks.
Yeah.
You know, like, you guys are out here, and only for example, you know, they're doing a live stream party for the reveal, got like a
Yeah, it was sick.
DJ.
It was
And a
sick, yeah.
DJ. I'm just
So
like,
sick.
what? I'm just like, what?
I was
I'm
here
like,
at like 9 a.m, just like getting down with them. It was fun. Like that's, yeah. I mean, it's everything about their drop and how they did it was awesome.
yeah, like, after seeing it, because like I bought two and I sold one because I just wanted some more money for tokens, and I just wanted, you know, just some money, because like, this is sort of how I make how I can keep
Incremental
my
gains in the space. It's incremental
yeah.
gains. Yeah.
But after seeing that, I'm just like, fuck, I want it back.
Yeah, I went hard. I was scrambling to get one. I mean, it's just, and that one, like that art just like drew me in. Like, you know, it's
so
like
good.
It's so unique. The colors pop so hard. It's almost got like
Yes.
this gorillas feel to it. Like, you know, like
yes.
if you if you look at them like kind of looking out of the corner of their eye, looking at you, if you like kind of compared to gorillas, it was like, this is so sick. Immediately when I saw it, and Metabit Broker put me onto it. I was like, it's crazy too, like how I've never heard of it. I know I'm like deep in my own project, but like I didn't hear about it until like a day or two before the drop. And I think, I mean, there's so many projects that are dropping. It's so easy to miss something, you know, unless you're actively looking and communicating in the community. So, but yeah, I mean, that I'm holding onto those for sure. I think I just, when's the reveal on that, by the way? I thought it was supposed to be 24 hours after sellout.
Sorry, I was just replying to a downer in the chat, telling him fuck off. Sorry, what was the question again?
No, just the Oni Force. I didn't know when that was gonna reveal.
Reveal. So it's revealing. So they pushed it a day back.
Okay.
To Saturday. I think it was 11 or something like that. Super excited, man. Like, minting a project before it comes out is one of the most, like, so like on VV we had blind boxes, and a lot of people got really excited over that, but it's like a prefabricated piece. So when it's like this random generated piece that you're getting, it's so exciting, dude. Like, because you don't know what you're gonna get, you don't know the rarity. You know, when you buy on the secondary, if you want something rare, you're gonna be paying. Paying for it.
That's a fun part too. Like going like, I mean,
sniping,
sniping.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, like, I mean,
yes.
Like, what was he doing? What was he thinking, or he or she? But it's like, oh yes, man, there's some fun to that too. But I think you're right. There's nothing better than the reveal. Like, it's like opening that pack of Pokemon cards when you're a kid again. I haven't felt that since now. Like in NFTs. It's just like
so
that
great.
excitement is awesome.
It's so great. And like when I seen like another thing that, like, with your project, there's like a snipe within a snipe, in the sense of, like, you know, you got rarity, but you've also got like just these attributes that people fall in love with. Like, so you've got like the cross J, that's super popular.
Yeah,
maybe the whole toker itself isn't that rare. Maybe it's like a 8,000, you know, level. But at the end of the day, is if the whole thing works really slick and just looks super slick, you know, you got the hair back, got the cross J and whatnot, like, people are going to be willing just to pay for it because they love the cross J. You got the gold puff. The gold puff did really well, or the 20, I think it's 23 dabs. Like, the floor on them is like what, like 0.4 or something like that. Like, I think, and it's like, I love the fact that the community is so involved to the point that they've sort of determined things before, like other attributes over rarity as well, you know?
Yeah, that I'm with you on that. Like I in any project I buy, like obviously you want the rarity to be up, but like for me there's just some that like it doesn't matter if it's rare or not. It just looks so sick, you know, like
Exactly.
uh
And if you don't get that, if you don't get your community getting that, it means your community doesn't love the project because they're not dictating what they like amongst each other. You know,
yeah.
they're just like, oh, rarity,
Yeah, they're
rarity, and
not buying
it's
on their
not
personal
genuine.
preference. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
yeah. So that's like when you see that, you're like, okay, this project's genuine. Like people are
Yeah.
like, people are into this. You know what I mean? Because
I,
like I seen one that was like a sub 200 and it just looks a little bit like goofy and it just wasn't my thing. And then like I seen like this one that was like 8,000 rarity that I bought and I paid like point 0.2 for it when everything was at 0.13 just because I thought it looked slick, like just
yeah.
had the hair back, had the toothpick in his mouth, and I was like, yeah, this is me. This is like how I visualize if I was the toker in this art style, this is what I would look like. So I just bought it. I went, I don't care what this price is, I'm buying it because it's slick and I want this as my avatar, you know?
Yeah, I think that's like people can connect with these, right? Like it's like a these are
Yeah.
people that like very much like look like somebody you could see in everyday life. My brother, Token Dread, he's got long dreads. So like my buddy was like, he minted and he's like, dude, it's Jimmy. Like it's him. Like I could see him. You know, like you could see yourself in these characters, which I think is another like fun. I have a character that my wife is like, this is you. Her mom was joking about it. It's like I used to have the long hair with the beanie and he's smoking a J. It's like it's me, like it's this
Yeah.
project. I find it like fun. I'm looking at the GIF on the screen right now. Like
Yeah.
they're characters, like they're just that you can see a personality in all of them.
Exactly. My favorite hairstyle would have to be the black beanie with the long hair. Like I just think that
Oh
that
yeah,
hairstyle looks sick and like the cheetah print one
the
and the
cheetah's my
slick
favorite. I think.
yeah, and the slick back and like the one with the short blonde hair reminds me of Bad Bunny, which is like this artist, this a Latina artist, sort of similar to like Balvin sort of thing.
Uh
And
huh.
I'm just like looking at everything in here, and there's just so much culture in there. Like you've got I heard you was talking about how one of the hairstyles was based off a runner who got kicked out of the Olympics for smoking weed,
Yeah, yeah,
and it was like let her run with the hair tied up, and I was just like, that's sick, man.
yeah,
And then you got one that looks like Billie Eilish, and I was like, man, like what if Billie Eilish comes here and buys one? You know, like people like that thing's gonna moon, and then I'm looking at like this, like you got to think of who are the people who are willing to spend no matter what. Like there's people who have spent $1 million on a bloody cigar with weed in it, like so like it's like a crazy community, like and like the fact that there's so much culture reflected in there, it's just very invitive. Like one of them in here looked like Juice World, and I was just like, so that's cool.
yeah, yeah,
And like I've already seen Ja Rule post about it, and Ja Rule is one of the few influencers in the space that's famous. Where I'm like, this guy actually knows about NFTs because what I see him posting, I'm like, these are actually good NFT projects, proper projects. And he posted about your project, and I was just like, and he's like, this is sick. And I'm
yeah. He's
like,
been in our Discord a few times too. It's pretty wild. Like me and my wife, kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, Child
that's
rules in the Discord
crazy.
right now. It is pretty fun. It is wild.
The golden era, of like hip hop and shit, I forgot what it's called, but like he, like, man, I used to listen to his music as a kid, man. So like just seeing that, I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like
Oh, it's wild.
and just being in the space, some of the people that I've like met and talked to, and I'm just like, what the hell's going on, man? Like, it just because it's so new, anyone's willing to talk with anyone.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's
It's
awesome.
super dope, dude. Super dope. I'm gonna have to head off in just a sec, just because of the fact that I've got work and I got to go to work and whatnot. So I'm gonna open up to questions. If anyone's got any questions to
Okay,
ask, as we continue, we'll just continue to talk, and if any questions pop up, we'll just answer them sort of along the way.
cool.
Yep. Now, well, I'm just gonna go through. Where can people find you? Like just you and the project and whatnot. So if they do want to add the project, add
Yep.
you, they can find you.
So at Crypto Canna Club on Instagram and Twitter. We've got a link to our Discord, our website, all that in the bio section of our Instagram and Twitter. Check out OpenSea if you're interested in purchasing. Floor is, I think, still at a decent price to get in right now. Like we're fairly early in the roadmap, and we think as we execute the roadmap, we think the floor is going to rise. So I think it's definitely a good time for people to get in. And yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of really cool stuff planned for the future. Metaverse, gamification, in real life events, partnerships, sponsorships from brands. We want to get into festivals. We want to provide cool competitions for people to get stoked about. There's so much that we plan on doing, and our team is so passionate about the NFT space and cannabis, and so we're going to be everywhere. Like I said, MJ BizCon, we're full steam ahead to be there. We want to be present in the space in both NFT and cannabis community. So
Okay, so we got a question that just came through here. We got when will we be able to play these characters? I've got the feeling that maybe the metaverse is sort of coming quite soon.
yeah, I mean we're building in the metaverse right now. So we're building crypto voxels will be first. Sandbox is still like a ways out from being fully functioning. We're going to start building in there as soon as we can. As far as the website, I don't have a date. I don't even have a guess on when that could be. I've said a lot in our Discord, like we don't want to, like everybody is invested in this. So although people are excited, like nobody should want us to rush this. I think, everybody should want this to be done the right way. And, so we want to make sure that like we're working at speed. We know that we don't want this to take forever. We do want to which is why I think, if people understand, we'll come out with a V1, to get people going. And then like, as we're probably wrapping up V1, we're probably going to get going on, animations to improve. So like, long story short, like I don't really have an answer on when the website game will be up, but we're going to work as fast as we can to get it out there and, do what we can to get it functioning. And then we're going to continue to work on it.
So the website game, like I try to be as active in the Discord as I can, but I'm very, very, very busy. So I miss a lot of stuff. The website game. So this isn't the one that you're talking about. There isn't the metaverse one. You've actually got your own little separate game happening. What's that?
In the metaverse?
Oh, you said website game.
Oh, so that'll be like more of like the Crypto Cannabis Cup. So when we're talking about like entering your plants into the competition, that'll be based off of our website versus like being in the metaverse. So metaverse, like playing around in the metaverse. I think, we're talking to Decentraland about some, potentially creating some sort of game in Decentraland where, you can actually like grow your plants. So don't have a timeline on that, but yeah, that's so website. When I say web based game, we're working on that right now. Don't have a timeline on that. As far as metaverse goes, I think crypto voxels should be up within the next hopefully 2 to 3 weeks, where you'll start to be able to explore our space, and then we're going to continue to add.
And like that's another sort of bit of utility that you bring is like, with Decentraland, buying land on there, like, a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford that in the future. And you've got this land here, a place for people to come and chill, in the club that they like. So it's like a way, it's like another reason why people are going to come in. So I've got another question. When you stake, will you be able to earn ETH? I think I can sort of answer that in the sense of what you're earning is the plant, and the plant's valuable in itself. But I'll let you sort of answer that.
Yeah, so I mean, like the mechanics of the staking, essentially, like you'll be earning money through staking your plant. So you stake. I want to be careful with the way I word this. Essentially, like I can see when you stake, what do you earn ETH? So yeah, you're getting paid in Ethereum back. Yeah, it's essentially like part of the, I don't want to say profit sharing, but it's like part of the money earned from gamification will go back into the staking pool. So it's essentially going to be like a pool created, and based off of what goes into that pool, it'll basically be divided. So it will be ETH, and essentially you stake and earn money through money generated into the pool.
Wow. Okay. I didn't expect that. Like, I was sort of expecting like the staking was like in regards to the plans. That's crazy.
Yeah. So we want people to be able to, if like the kind of the idea here was like my wife's mom has one, right? Like she's not going to play the game, so it's like she's going to hold, right? But it's a cool way to like somewhat like almost control, not control supply, but like in a sense, like it's almost like having people delist, like you're doing something with it, instead of somebody just like holding and leaving their NFT on OpenSea, it's not going on OpenSea. And I think that benefits everybody in the project. If the less NFTs on OpenSea, the supply is lower, and if there's a high demand for the project, the price point should be better for everybody. So that's kind of the idea there. It's like, hey, if you don't want to play the game, you can earn money this way. And go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, are you a little bit afraid of the fact that you could be potentially viewed as shit? What do you call it? A hold? I think it's a hold.
We're being very careful with like how we do how we approach this. Yeah. So like that's kind of why I was like treading lightly, and I don't want like anybody to like quote me on anything, because like this is something that like we want to really make work, but we have to really figure out the mechanics for legally how are we going to do this. Like we want to make sure that everything's done the right way. So that's
So for those in the chat, the reason why it's important not to be sort of known as like a hold is the fact that there's laws in regards to earning interest on money that you're holding. You sort of essentially become somewhat like a bank, and like there's a lot that can happen. That's why there's like troubles happening with things like Ripple and stuff like that. Well, it's different, but like that's the sort of thing that can happen, is like, you can get terminated or held until things go through, and that can take years, and that can deaden a project. But like but the thing is, you guys, it's good that you guys know all about that, so you really understand it.
Yeah,
Like,
we're going to be super careful with like how everything is worded and, you know, the mechanics behind like how that all, you know, functions. And, you know, it's possible. And I hate to be the person to really go into depth because it's, you know, it's going to take like a much longer conversation kind of explaining like how it all works. And, you know,
yeah,
I'm very careful with like saying something before it's concrete. I've said this a few times in the podcast, and that I think this one's super important on like, you know, keep an eye out on our communication on this, because we will again put out more details as we hammer these down. But yeah,
yeah.
it's a kind of a touchy subject.
Yeah, because like there's a lot of projects that just don't understand the space and try to create something without thinking things through, and essentially just screw over their community. And the fact that
Yeah,
you are aware of all this is fantastic, because it
yeah.
means that it's not like a risk for the members and whatnot. Like, you know.
We've got like lawyers on retainer that like we are going to make sure that if we're doing something, it's legal. So yeah, like we're not, and that's the thing, right? Like a lot of people don't know. Like I'll be the first to say, like when we first came up with the idea, I wasn't the first person to be like, hey, is this idea legal? You know, like we've got a, you know, a lawyer that we worked with when I formed this that kind of advised on like what's possible, you know. And so, and then, you know, now having this team on retainer, it's a
Mm.
tool that I think, yeah, the community should value, because we are making sure that like what we do is, you know,
Yeah.
we're not going to get in trouble down the road.
And like, see, you're taking things slow, which is great, and really thinking things over, rather than being like, oh, we can make money out of this right now, therefore we do it and we worry about the risk later. Like, there's a thing that was happening with Vivi, where they're bringing out a website where you can basically pay, because like, so when you buy it on the App Store, what ends up happening is you have to pay a fee to Apple or Google. But if you avoid that fee through like a website by just selling, like, it's like a 30% fee by selling gems, you know, like the in-game money currency through a website, Google and Apple can be like, well, you're not using our Play Store anymore. And so I brought this up with the devs, and they basically went, oh, you know, haven't really looked at that too much, but it shouldn't be an issue. And I'm like, no, this is a really big issue. Epic Games, which is the richest gaming company, just got kicked off the Play Store and Google for this, and it's like a really big thing that you should definitely think through. And like that, they would have fantastic lawyers and whatnot, and I think that's why things may be postponed. But like, it's like some serious stuff that, you know. And but so like, so it's like definitely some questions that I like always sort of ask when I'm investing in something and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot, you know. And like, yeah, like, this project seems, you know, very careful about everything that's said, you know. And there's a lot of projects that just aren't, man. Like,
Yeah, we are very calculated with like the information that we put out. And like things can always change too, which is the scary part. So we don't want to like say something and then 2 weeks later the space changes, or our project, like we see it going in another direction. You know, we want to really make sure that it's well thought out, and you know, whatever we're putting out, like we're confident that it's going to happen.
so we've got another question here. Any sneak peek at what under 650 mint can expect?
We've been tossing around our ideas. Like one of our community managers, he's just like been an OG. He's one of the mods, Link Speaker, that you know, he's like constantly like, he's one of those guys, and he's got some people that he got involved with that are, you know, early 650s. We've tossed around like a few ideas. I don't really have like any information on that right now, but I do, I think we were talking about it a few days ago. I mean, I want it to be something that everybody's stoked on. So like, I don't want it to be like too small. I don't know. I don't really have the idea yet that I'm like comfortable with like sharing. I want it to be cool. I'm in no like, I know people probably want it. Like I'm in no rush because I want it to be like the right thing, So yeah, not a great answer, I guess, but
what are some ideas that the community has brought forward, so we can sort of get an idea of the trajectory of where maybe you're thinking?
I don't know. I mean, where I'm
like not
thinking
lock anything
like,
in.
What's that?
Not locking anything in. I was just saying not locking anything in, but like I just sort of get a sort of trajectory.
Well, like I think like some sort of like special like piece of merch that's only accessible through 650 would be cool, and like.
So physical or in-game?
I would say probably physical, and that's kind of where my head's at, and do like trying to make like not really necessarily carrying a profit off of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I want, I think you can see it with like a lot of the aspects of the project. Like we are as a business, like obviously we want to make money, but that's not like the only concern. I think like we're so concerned with like making sure that the community also holds value. So like through the staking, like communities, gonna benefit from that. Through our partnerships, we could easily like work with brands and make them pay for, advertising. But like we'd much rather the brand provide us with something that we could kick down to the community. So I think like for us, like we're very community driven. We want the community to reap the benefits of like, what we've built. We're not like super concerned on like us making all the money, like I think that is what really can make our project stand out is the fact that we have like developers and owners of the project that like care just as much about the community as they do the project. It's like kind of hand in hand, they both go together for us, and without the community we wouldn't have the project. So
I think one important thing for under 650 mints, like just to have a think of, would be something that can be reflected in the metaverse. The reason why I say this is just from being in like the VV community and whatnot. So you've got mint numbers. When you get a collectible, lower mint numbers in VV, it's the only distinguishing feature. There's no rarity. Oh well, there's rarities, but like of each rarity, the extra distinguishing feature is like the mint number. So low mint numbers fetch like a premium.
Yep.
So like the one thing that a lot of people have been asking for is like a badge that shows up in the metaverse. Now, with this, I think what makes this sort of more important is the fact that it's like a statement like, hey, either I went and paid a premium for this, or it's a statement like I was here day one. I was the first 650. And people, when they see that, they'll be like, wow, like this is an OG here with this character. Or maybe like when you breed plants, there might be like a distinguishing feature on the pot. Or
we can give that 650 like OG access to so many things. Like and that's again like it kind of goes to like the merch drop thing. It's like we can make that like the exclusive OG club, like where we like in the metaverse, we could have like our space, but only 650 and under can go into this room, and like access whatever's in that room. So yeah, we can totally do that. And I love the idea of like, I mean, obviously the idea came up with saying like, people were like, are you guys going to reward any of the OGs? And like, I was paying attention to the sale and I saw that it like stopped at 650. So that was why I was like, I feel like it stopped at 650, and like every wallet holder under 650, I want to like do something for. So I like the idea of like exclusivity, like people having opportunities to access hidden spaces or, you know, things that not everybody else can access.
But the merch is like a way of being able to give to the community now without waiting for the ability to do it.
Yeah, and I think buying a piece of, if you like think about like consumer behavior and like buying a piece of merchandise like Supreme, you know, or like when Kanye's shoes first fucking came out, and I didn't buy any of them, but like the feeling of like buying something that you know is like limited and like you were one of X amount of people able to access that, I think is like there's some cool like satisfaction to like being like in the club, right? So I think that's why like
sorry. Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, I think like having like the access to that tangible item as like being like one of 100 people or whatever it is to have access to that. From like personally, like I would want that tangible item, but I also think we could do both. Like it's super easy for us to be like, yo, it's the VIP lounge for the OGs in the metaverse.
Yeah, so I reckon that. So when you give the merch, it's like, hey, we've honored what we said. Here's the merch. You can wear this to conventions when we have like when we go to weed conventions. You rock up and someone sees the Toka 650 shirt. You know, maybe it's even like, who knows? Maybe it's even got the actual mint of what they had. You know, or it's just under 650 club, and you know, when Crypto Cannabis Club's big, you know, there'll be people in the room that'll be like, holy shit, this guy's part of the 650 club. So you've got that value already brought to the table, but then you can do airdrops every now and then for 650. So you've given value to that avatar that person holds. So if they do decide that they want to sell it, it's given further value, and it's not depreciated because it's not like, hey, we've given the item, now that's gone, so there's no further value for that. Every now and then there's like an airdrop, you know, maybe once a year or something. Might not be big, but because it's exclusive, it's continued the value of that under 650.
Yeah, for sure. I love the idea, and I mean, I'm all for stuff like this. You know, like I think it almost adds to the game a little bit. Like, not saying gamification game, but like this game of like flipping NFTs and, you know, looking at like value outside of rarity. Like we said earlier, there's perceived value in so many different ways. So yeah, like this would create another avenue for value.
Yeah, like my favorite. What's your favorite attribute or clothing piece out of the Tokas?
I don't know. It's so hard. I think I really like. I like like if you look at like the trippy skin, I think the trippy skins are just. I don't know. They're like characters. I think they stand out so much amongst like all the others just because like the color popping. I'd say probably trippy skins probably one of my favorites.
I think trippy skins will see their true value in the metaverse, because then people will see like, oh, okay, you can see a trippy skin from far away and it just looks cool, whether it's close or far away, and it's just like, it's going to become like almost like a relic in a sense. Like, my favorite feature is probably the mushroom drip, just because I love myself some mushies.
Nice.
And the cross J, because every time I see a cross J, I just think of Seth Rogen's tutorial on YouTube on how to make a cross J.
It's so good. I mean, the cross J is probably that was one of my other favorites. That was like one where after mint I didn't get a cross J, and so it was like I had to get a cross joint. The Good Burger hat is my favorite for sure. I just love, like, I don't know, like my brother was talking about the other night, like watching like all that. I don't know if you watched that show with Keenan and Kel back in the day, like the Good Burger hat.
Mm.
Like they're just like, I don't. They had like these stoner personalities before I even knew what a stoner personality was as a kid. So like growing up now and like watching the old videos, like they were just characters. It was so funny to me. So yeah, Good Burger hat for sure is my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, mushroom drip would be like the jewelry merch kind of thing on them. Cross J is probably like my favorite like mouthpiece, and then out of the hair, or the black beanie with the Ranger hair is cool, but I also really like the slick back hair, the slick back mullet looking hair.
Yeah.
I just think that looks super dope. It just I
That's
don't
so
know.
good.
I think it looks dope, man. Anyways, man, I'm gonna head off because I've got to go to work, man. I've been really enjoying this conversation, man. This has got me
For sure.
super hyped. Like definitely gonna buy some more tokens for sure, man. Like
Plants are coming out soon. Get them while you can. Floor is still low, so.
Well, they're coming out next month, hey?
Yeah, we're hoping like early September is like what I'm hoping for. We're saying like, I don't want to give a hard date, but I feel pretty confident on, beginning of September. So we'll continue to keep everybody posted. We're going to come out with an announcement here soon. Just a quick update on where we're at with things. And yeah, everybody should be stoked.
One last thing, just before I go. I've been noticing a lot of art in the community, and it's like so good. And because I haven't been able to be super, like I've been super busy this past 2 weeks. I haven't been able to be that active in the Discord. But some of them I'm looking at, I'm like, are these part of the team? Like, so CK Design's not part of the team.
He's on the mods. I saw him right here. He's one of the mods. He's been crushing it. Like we've fully, like, after we launched, we wanted to bring creatives onto the mod team. Like we created a role token creator. So if like anybody is creative and like can provide value to the team, like, again, like this is super community based, and we're very open to like bringing people on that are passionate about the project and have a skill set that is valuable. Like we're all about like bringing other people into the project, and so yeah, CK Designs, he's been crushing it. Like the backgrounds and stuff that he was creating with the characters, like it went just as crazy as our drop. Like you see everybody having his backgrounds in their profile pictures, so it's awesome, dude. Like I'm all about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it looks dope, man. Like I'd love to see like a sort of a Hoffman background or something like that, like some Lucy back. I just like anything trippy, dude, man. Like
reach out to him, dude.
They look sick, man.
For sure.
And what about Canna Comics? Is that
same? Like he just like immediately when we even started like teasing it, he just started like creating. My brother even reached out. He's like, "Is this us? Are we doing this?" I was like, "No, dude. Like this is how it is. Like people take it and run with it." So his definitely like the style is like he hit it spot on. Like it's very similar to our characters.
Because like all the creative people in this space, like man, we've got some creative people in the VV space, but the creative people in this space are like professional, man. Like,
oh yeah, there's a lot of really successful people out there that like who knows what the fuck they do like in their everyday jobs, but it's really cool to see all the shit that pops up on the Discord. I like there's some shit that really stands out. It's like, whoa, dude, like you're really talented. You should either, if I don't know if you do that full time, but like anybody that's got that skill and like wants to work with us, like we are happy to bring them onto the team.
Yeah, and like anyone who's like skilled looking to help with any sort of projects or anything like that. I also know a few people in the space that can help. like I'm more than happy to get anyone on the show to talk about their project. You know, if I believe it provides utility and whatnot, just because like I just think that's important. The community bringing exposure and whatnot. You know, like, yeah, like, buddy, if Canna Comics or anything ever want to come on for sure. But like, I'm gonna have to wrap this up, man. Like, I'm super into this conversation. I could
Yeah, it's
go
been
on,
fun, man.
go
I
on
appreciate you
forever.
bringing me on.
Yeah, man. This was great. Learned so much, man. Your project's amazing. Anyone in the chat from VV, you know, you would not lose investing in this project. Just so much utility. But yeah. Anyways, dude, peace. Have a good one, man.
You as well, man. Thanks again for bringing me on. Anybody that listened or watched, we appreciate you guys. Check us out, cryptocannabisclub.com. Check out our Twitter and Insta, Crypto Canna Club. Our website, link to OpenSea is all on there. So check us out.
Awesome. No worries. Peace, dude.